If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195.
Oh, wow. So he would go all the way from 40 to 95?
Yeah, I mean, it would be an exhibition.
Tank Davis or Jake Paul. So, immediately, yeah, the normal layman would say, oh, Tank Davis is better. But better at what?
Jake Paul is unequivocally the most successful fighter in history 4 years in. No one comes close. No one.
According to reports, the fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis has been confirmed. Jake claims that everything is nearly finished and that the fight will be an exhibition. Following Tank's rematch with Lamont Roach, they will square off. There is a lot of enthusiasm surrounding the battle. When these two celebrities finally square off in the ring, fans can't wait. Both parties are prepared to make it happen following the rematch. And promo videos have already been developed.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195.
Oh, wow. So he would go all the way from 40 to 95?
Yeah, I mean, it would be an exhibition.
Okay. But, and so what does that mean? Is that 3-minute rounds?
Yeah, 10 3-minute rounds.
And when you say exhibition, like, what are the restrictions on that?
No restrictions, just the fact that like we couldn't actually get it professionally sanctioned.
Okay. Is that still of interest to you? Like if he wins the rematch and you beat Julio, is that of great interest to you later this year?
For sure. Like I said, big events. And, you know, when we had announcement videos filmed for Canelo and for Gervonta, like both filmed and fully edited. And my team went into the streets to ask people what they thought of me versus Gervonta. Every single person was like, Gervonta would kill Jake. He's going to die, all of this stuff. And so just proving people wrong and changing the narrative and showing people that I'm a better boxer than all of these so-called pound for pound is just fun.
Turning point in Jake Paul's boxing career was his victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He now ranks among the top 15 cruiserweight boxers as a result of this victory. Considering how critics originally wrote him off as a social media celebrity trying his hand at boxing, this accomplishment is astounding. Because of this ranking, current champions are unable to ignore Jake and may now have to take on Jake in the ring in order to save their crowns and reputations. He has come a long way in a short period of time, as seen by his transformation from demonstration fighter to a known contender.
So now that Jake Paul won his fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he's apparently ranked top 15 cruiserweights in the world. And apparently, I guess now, world champions are able to fight voluntarily to defend their championship against Jake Paul. Which, if I'm being honest, that's kind of crazy, bro. Isn't that crazy? Right? You're telling me you fought somebody that's not a natural cruiserweight, right? And now you're automatically ranked top 15 and you could fight a couple of world champions and it makes sense. Not that I think he beats any of them. I'm going to be completely honest. I can't see it, bro. If Jake ends up beating somebody, yo, shout out to him. He finessed his way to the fucking top and a world champion and really like cemented himself into the history books. But the way that he boxes, he's just very sluggish. It's kind of slow. You know, I think any cruiserweight world champion, even Badu Jack, will defeat him. And I actually don't even understand why he even wants to fight Anthony Joshua, besides the bag, obviously. But what do you guys think, though? This whole shit has gone crazy.
For a while now, there has been talk in boxing circles about Jake Paul taking on Gervonta Davis. Never afraid to make audacious claims, Jake used the post-fight news conference at Mike Tyson's event as an opportunity to take aim at Davis. This went beyond a simple publicity stunt. It demonstrated Jake's self-assurance and ambition to become well-known. The sport is made much more intriguing by the continuous talks between the two sides, which feed rumors that this fight might actually happen.
You were an interested observer on the Netflix event, Paul versus Tyson.
Why would he even want to fight him? And who told Mike Tyson to fight anyway?
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah. Tell him, this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up? What up, Jake Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super down.
Gervonta,
I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
is there a height limit in boxing?
Outspoken Tyson. Fury shared his thoughts on the possible conflict between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Although, Fury noted that many people feel Tank is the better fighter. He raised a crucial query. What precisely makes Tank superior than Jake? Fury gave Jake great marks for his promotional abilities, emphasizing how Paul turns every bout into a big event and how few competitors can match his ability to draw crowds, produce huge pay-per-view purchases, and spark interest around the world. The fact that boxing is as much about commerce as it is about skill is highlighted by Fury's comments.
Fantastic event. Anyone who don't think it's a fantastic event is jealous. Who's better, at Tank Davis or Jake Paul? So, immediately, yeah, the normal layman would say, oh, Tank Davis is better. But better at what? Is he better at selling tickets? Is he better at selling stadiums out? Is he better at creating controversy? Is he better at getting followed on Instagram? Is he better at putting more eyeballs on the boxing? Is he better than him at that? The answer would be no. But is he better at him in a fight? It has to be really, you have to break it down. You know what I mean?
Paul's development extends beyond his on-ring exploits. His promotional prowess has revolutionized the way boxing is promoted to a contemporary audience through partnerships with major brands, social media, and streaming services like Netflix. Jake has developed new methods. He helps draw attention to athletes who might otherwise go unnoticed and creates opportunities for other fighters to interact with spectators. Even seasoned pros recognize Jake's talent for building excitement, packing stadiums, and elevating games into high-stakes events.
Jake Paul is unequivocally the most successful fighter in history 4 years in. No one comes close. No one. You couldn't list one that comes close, including Brock Lesnar if you include his WWE career. 4 years in terms of what he's done in terms of box office, pay-per-view, impact, helping other boxers, because he had platform, he had awareness, and he's got the focus and discipline to drive with.
There are obvious distinctions between Logan Paul's bout with Floyd Mayweather and the prospect of Jake Paul meeting Gervonta Davis, according to fans. Despite his brother's height advantage, Jake has demonstrated more dedication and boxing prowess. Additionally, Tank Davis adds interest to this possible fight. Jake's power, technique, and ability to remain calm under duress have all gradually increased. This might be a meaningful sporting event and a true test for the fighters. It's not just another entertainment performance.
So a Tank Davis versus Jake Paul exhibition match was going to take place after the Lamont Roach fight until Tank drew with Roach, leading to a rematch. Now, I'm going to say the unpopular opinion here, but the size difference would have been way too much. I mean, even if Tank brought Jake down to 190 or 200 pounds, he would have still been way too big. I mean, no matter how good a lightweight is, they would have almost no chance against a cruiserweight or heavyweight ranked top 200 in his division. And I'm sure people are going to bring up Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, but Logan is just not a good boxer relative to Jake. You know, Jake's been training for a couple years, he's had over 10 pro fights, and Mayweather was also junior middleweight in this fight, not a lightweight like Tank. But that being said, I'm glad Tank and Jake isn't happening. You know, it would have been a fun spectacle, but I'm not the biggest fan of the exhibition stuff. And instead now Tank and Roach will be rematching in June. You know, the first fight did a little over 260,000 pay-per-view buys, which isn't bad in this market. Roach absolutely deserves a second fight, so I do think the rematch will do far more numbers. And as for Jake, I want to see him fight big-name boxers around his weight class. You know, the Tommy Fury rematch, for example, he's undefeated. The first fight did a little over 800,000 pay-per-view buys. He's around the same age range, so that's the fight I want to see, not the exhibitions. But let me know what you guys think.
There is still disagreement over whether Gervonta Davis would agree to a battle with Jake Paul. Supporters contend that Tank should accept such a challenge since he is a prize fighter and should go where the money is. However, there are questions over Tank's choice to turn down Shocker Stevenson's offer from Turki Alshik, allegedly because he didn't want to fight in Saudi Arabia. According to some fans, this indicates that Tank is picky about who he fights and where he fights, that a battle with Jake might not occur until all the circumstances are ideal.
I've been told y'all Gervonta Tank Davis isn't a prize fighter. I know a lot of you guys say, well, he doesn't fight for belts, he doesn't fight for legacy, he fights for money. He's a prize fighter, Jerry. And I'm going to assume a prize fighter is a guy who is solely making fights based off of cash reward. He'd rather fight a bum for $50 million than fight a guy who's experienced for $10 million. That is what a prize fighter would be. Actual definition, a professional boxer who competes in matches for money prizes. So let's take a look at it. Turki Al-Sheikh has declared he wants to make Tank versus Shakur. He says, my plan for Shakur is this fight. He's referring to Floyd Schofield, then William Zepeda, and then let's see if Tank wants to be in our show. Tank's not going to fight Shakur. He's not going to fight him in Saudi Arabia. So now that we've established Tank isn't a prize fighter, because if he was, his career resume would look a whole lot different, then we must ask, what is Tank's goal in boxing? I'll tell you right now, it's easy money. Tank is the type of guy, he'd rather fight, let's say, 4 Lamont Roaches for $20 million than fight 1 Shakur Stevenson for $80 million, which is fine. But I'm tired of people saying, oh, he's a prize fighter. That's why he's not taking these fights. He's not a prize fighter. The biggest money fights is Haney, Ryan, Teo, Shakur, and Loma. He's not even going to take half of those fights. So please, guys, all my Tank fans, all my guys who claim Tank is a prize fighter, that's why he's not fighting for the belts, please stop it. This guy's not a legacy fighter. He's not a prize fighter. He's just a guy who enjoys easy paydays. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Just stop misleading people with your comments.
Has frequently been suggested that Gervonta Davis, Dante Davis, competes below the lightweight limit should increase his weight in order to push himself even harder. The leap would be enormous if he had to compete against Jake Paul, who weighs between 190 and 200 pounds, which is completely different from Davis's level. To take on such a challenge, he would need to completely change his training and approach. In addition to gaining weight, size disparity alone would make this fight unlike anything he has ever faced. Full Gervonta. Davis is not ranked in the top 10 pound, 4 pound among lightweights despite his fame and skill. Many people consider him to be one of the division's best fighters, thus this surprises them. People question whether a fight with Jake Paul will benefit or harm his career given his lack of a top ranking. Would it be viewed as a diversion that detracts from his history as a serious boxer? Or would it present a fresh challenge and enhance his reputation?
Okay, this is my personal take on it. I've been saying for a while that Gervonta Tank Davis needs to go up to 140 and challenge himself. Now, a lot of the fanboys, you Gervonta Tank Davis fanboys, called me a hater for that because y'all just don't get it. And I don't really blame fanboys. Fanboys are followers. So when you hear somebody talk with his own mind, talk like a leader, they're immediately unidentifiable. So you guys see him as a hater, all right? The truth of the matter is, Gervonta Tank Davis is a big-time predator. He's a big-time predator who needs to hunt big-time game. There are fighters who are just generational talents, right? And those fighters, they must get it all, have it all. And I know a lot of you guys will see it as money, right? Because y'all just not made of that stuff. And I've been trying to say it in live streams. I've been trying to say it in videos. I've been talking about boxing in a way from a perspective of big-time fighters, big-time legacy, and what makes a warrior from when they're small. Gervonta Tank Davis has been a beast for as long as he remembers. From a little kid, he's been a beast.
Gervonta Davis is not a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter right now. He's arguably not even in the top 10 pound-for-pound right now. Despite how cool this picture is, it does not get him into the pound-for-pound list. Even though we could say that he could probably beat everyone in the lightweight division, even though I think he loses to Shakur, he hasn't done it, and he probably isn't going to do it. But what would it take for him to get to the number 1 pound-for-pound spot? Let's go over what he would have to do to reach number 1. Well, first off, he'd obviously have to go undisputed in the lightweight division. And even though that would be great, I think that only cracks him like number 4. Because the only one in the top 10 pound for pound in the lightweight division is maybe Shakur. But realistically, he's gonna have to do more than just go undisputed in the lightweight division. So obviously, he'd have to go up to 140 because there's no way he's making 130. And then he'd have to beat a dude like Teofimo, and he'd probably have to beat Devin Haney as well. And I think that could probably get him the number 1 spot. But yeah, we can sit here and say Tank is one of the best pound for pound fighters right now, which I think he's one of the most talented, and I think he could do most of what I said. However, hypotheticals aren't going to work with pound for pound listing.